of October 2020. Edamunyana say Mamwa Kwaba Bio Eba Ekosiisen Jumedi so on a Monday afternoon, some 24 minutes after 2, live on Asempa 94.7 FM. It's your multiple award-winning show, Ekosiisen Live on Asempa FM. Many your say bonsu femi obi atna see fi sambe kwapem say nonsia ne fa everybody edi dwumedie ebremo. On behalf of the production team, the best in town, Dominic Kisi Yeboa, Nana Chumberema, Jackson Osei Ntiamoa, Eric Opare and Queen Star in Japan. We do this every weekday from 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. It's Ghana's biggest and the most authoritative political, social, current affairs talk show. Officially the political program of the year 2019. That's the verdict of the Ghana Journalists Association. Ekosiisen. It was Asempa FM. And I watch you here and the 25th Ghana Journalists Association Award. Ebaso, and Movenpick Hotel here in Accra. Ekosiisen was named the political program of the year. And it's now official. Ghana's biggest, the most authoritative political, social, current affairs talk show. It's a humbling moment for all of us here. And you have made us number one. Many thanks to our sponsors as well for believing in this brand, for believing in this product. And we'll show a segment we show are heavily sponsored. In the sounds of our time, you shall see some very interesting, memorable voices. Emamo, you were Agbeve Herbal Center, Amponsa Ifa Pharmaceuticals, Obapa Company Limited, Duraplast, and a Liuma Trona. I'm going to me this segment. No, every mansana. You may hear some segment natural. So any juada in your mind here kwabena santiatna sedada ye de enobe bremo. May hear some segment so EcoBank Ghana, Vodafone, Prostate 60, or say a healthy prostate, a healthy life. JL Dankwa and a Don Marcus Travel and Tour. Moso boying near the no ebremo and sana. One-on-one interview session, no, and afi interviews are here on trending issues, no, so Consolidated Bank of Ghana, Korean ginseng tea, Bell Aqua, Freshman, Fresh Lady, Fresco capsules, Trelidor, Africa's strongest burglar proofing, and Hepa Plus mixer, or say Emma Apomodin and Pa, or also buying this segment, no Bremo, and Sunday the discussion segment, no every Franco Trading Enterprise, phone Papa Pafie, Bell Aqua Active, or say stay true to originality, Seahorse Engine Oil, Global Lighten, Tabia Herbal, TCL, The Creative Life, or Munina Boy, the discussion segment, so a Bremo. But we still have some room to admit new sponsors. And it's a kawakoma na opesa obo you maybe who devra. You know the place to put your advert. Ekosiisen Jumedi eso. Multiple award-winning show. Bekaya last year, Nyamia Domiensa Eka the CIMG radio program of the year. This year, and so Yensa Aka the Ghana Journalists Association political program of the year. The 25th Ghana Journalists Association Awards. Really, really humbling moment. We are live on Facebook. Go Facebook, Asempa 94.7 FM on Facebook. Please search, like our page, and watch our live streaming here. Sounds now on Twitter. You can also follow us on Twitter. Your handle on Twitter is Asempa 94.7 _FM in the Asempa 94.7 _FM. That's on Twitter. On Instagram, Asempa 94.7 FM. On YouTube, Asempa 94.7 FM. Or WhatsApp message in Swa. Your WhatsApp line is 0546 382 287. 0546 382 287. More on Facebook. No the certificate of award and a plaque account on Facebook. You can come and watch it on Facebook as Asempa 94.7 FM. Kone Kokoshe. And you would see 25th Ghana Journalist Association Awards. Certificate of award. This certificate is presented to Ekosiisen Asempa FM for winning the political program of the year radio. That's the radio category at the 25th Ghana Journalists Association Award. And it's signed by Afel Money, President, Ghana Journalist Association. It's a proud and a humbling moment for us here on the show. Am I here? Akwaba na pom to say.
Obinyamiadum. Bibi come on. Especially when Unyamiadum ne humo bro ato onu team no so. Na multimedia kunimdie ene ne munyam sheke CSA abre multimedia ejuma no ene mo ankasa mo ho ene mo dwumadia mudi wa ha ye Ekosiisen on say makachiro say fortunately for you asudi kese da onu team ne so abasobo de crowd the way they just a tip afi na ebeba bebre na eba no na kai wasa hyemoden say mo dwuma no even though eye ni so mo nipa sintobe wo mu no na esa kai mo say mo yire mo if we say Ghana for do na no titiri ye mabunu no on ani damo so say hwe anya hwe kra no ye ba sempa Ekosiisen dwumadi ni so a ye be hu de ekọ ye beti ne kre ni asa nya inkuransha asem fapem ne ye Kristo engineer ma bi say ana nya me ho that's what just because said the music come hu nyame so mutimi bom pai bom kire kombom na mutie nyame asem etontum nyame no onyame nso aka kire wo new team ni say esan se moti ni nyuna ase no de mu hu de ne nketu mu kramponi akase no ane disu de nya akase ne say momoni na ho if say mo kostu say no so no obone for no so nwene kenten bi opese ntokuru bebri ebede da ho na onno ma ho brase nimdie enkabum ene ahode sonko ade bia da motimi ede asori aba na yensu abebo mochidom na motimi de Ekosiisen dwumadi no ede aba
but you know say nyame adom ye dru bia ye dru because of monsomo support and especially you I think you've been a great guide, a great helper.
Say grandpapa, intimi no me sumo. The ancestor to me so. Intimi read you post and run and reach no. I said say enye nipa kekede domo sa nyansa no. Eyo nyame na de sa nyansa no eto so bra utimi nya akukuduro ekọ wachi koka say enkunumnie de ampa obre so na aba. Ayete said de nanado ya na asumdwi no ne bre so ne bae but oji akukuduro ka say mpa me bre so ne bae Mampen Akufo President Atamels late Jame for the Crazy John Dramani Mama any men another than Akufo-Addo ye nyina ya ho odin aka asie ni nemu abotie na nkasa de me person na esiye and dem ti mamen fasa akwanya wesu wa ho brase sonko ne akukudura onyae timi tworo ye tworo se nyame anim ni kurani se team na bedu sa mpempenso yi na wo na wo da no a o de Dominic ene era Samiri Nchabas body am omo sonko o de chum ne eye Jackson yeyo ene Queenster o de omaba body am omo sonko but the why ya dance so ne se o de aseda sonko pa ama attitude for miensa we de edi kan no o ka se eye ora ken ade we ni free ma enye yi enti e kire o se ananti kakra ana ba ya be ewura ba ko so abondi ewura kwabna bobi ansa if I want food na seda man say dey say fata so ono so be so ahomanum I say battle no dey ko ana okọ ya no so du ba bi no ohome so no dey ma eye the late eye kaba kojo asare ba fo champo ho de eye kase dey say fata ni bia no o de ma no enti onyame for the crazy yi na ye hye ni monyama sa da na se aka kire ne se ni nyuma pa oyeye no abrantie bi nso anyame koyi ni baaye a o de Philip Osebonsu do my friend Obi ananda munzu achoro Aberdeen Talo scholar why dey na say Obi beku nipa ono so brenie edi munyu pa mu ye no eno na de sa dwumedie ya Obi da no ene Dominic Isieboa Jackson ne Chum ene Uncle Sam ofria enche onyina ata akiri ne empanyimfo ata akiri ade abedusa eye empempeso ye because we are grateful because say obeye busua panyi a wanye careful so a obana se mu odesana utwa sase ton di se uhu se sase etemu po edu nhwe chikra but obusu panyi abaye no utwa sase di nyina na uhu se no asase we dey jato for market we dey for police station we for school now the sa anya pade na be ma abusura timi akokama no ujare nyina egu enti me so be dase for that wonderful write up na we no just that ebinim te say Samuel Brown Boabin ebe choro nsem bebre ba ye form enye de omo be ka no sam ga ye nti se dogobi enu abe de ye eni say GJ for koke omo sie ne kika bo omo nyina no on chire mu say the oboni centro nia na juma eye ni so broso any political programmer aye ni so abroso afimpinu dunkuru ye wo mi kozi aduonu no eye multimedia Ekosiisen ana afei yewura Samson Obenfo Samson ayenene ladi ono ana Ghana nyina
no Samson we too
Ghana nyina o too much bagage they call to nzumanya hange because unim ni court no so chese dachi za judge for now they asem come no motwe dem to they are not considered ba kokra eti any moment uso so my kirima so ensem a oburugu ho no so hwe ambassador san no motwe na eno so mo bo mo tiri nkosa because baby ya du no yen de oboni central for no se ma mo ya chidom na ya yakofa nsem no so aba ya na mo ba chiri ya buru ye dia ene na nya asema ebeboa enti afutu odi ma aposifo afutu odi ma partyfo afutu odi ma eye nipa ahodo nyina no afutu a very relevant enti megiri se ebre sem ne be mana ba na ene na betutu komo the journey so far with Samson baby ofri ya ene onyame na doma odi abedrami no se brinim timi akra mesre kwan na makoba me kono yenda yes assembly no se urban roads se high ways so you can say hotel Glory Land Hotel enim honum no odoko
yeah Glory Land odoko
so no o ma twini nyina na said there's a challenge ho it should be free a baby eba begu ho nti me hu se omugu so a but the fact is that insuo na eta ho na manka aba ho no ye boy no na no de ya me hu se o ma je do mase ese so mo react before crown sana ya beka ebia na ebu for money so a ye twi o ma so si so no ntempa no o ma timatu sana mo nemum insuo bi free e kire ho ba bi ba ye be sere o mo se o mo ntu ho na mo ntempa mfa man ne krakrakra na ka bru ma na ka maka sapa ye mesre ye count down to elections no eduro e ba enhwe anim se ya na nipa dodo na eye se kenne se metin kran anka mekan kran yi but mesre se ne tinti nyina ne se party adwenkyere enye ntokwa enye didi atem Ghana is not known for the ACC war unfortunate incidents war enuanum amama bi so nemum wo hwe huhu fam na hwe hunam fam a se menu mienu ye kasa ye ne ye ya ntoto ne ankrakra ne ye a de ni kwan se esi wo man Ghana mu no ebetimi asi onyame ma ne mpare ye na mabu ntitiw no yenko party mienu ne nyina manifesto yenko hwede o man ni da so ne ahotoso yenko hwede ne nhihye eboa yen emihu se ye odachi papa bi ansana yakase ye de ye koji aman evize se okokona on se twama MPP na NDC se woni tuma MPP na NDC so hwini boma MPP na NDC a total waste of time. It I'll expatiate more.
Yeah,
but
and the new patriotic party press conference with Lisa Hotel. Nana Komia, a managing director of STC. Former director of communications for the NPP. On the address, he is speaking on the leadership of Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. When as we speak, Nana Don so the Greater Accra regional. And Yabakwa Lisa Hotel Akofa. Yaba. I'll
be happy if some comment in our condemn both sides. No more beer majina and MPP for the easy and NDC for the easy. Let's condemn and let's see the way forward. You got a few days more. Edikokumutino, Ekosiisen, and I ekotuem, ekotuaso.
Mama Naso, my hine kwabena santini ya tene. Ye kwa Lisa Hotel. Ye ba Ekosiisen etwamo so. Discussion segment. Nani ye benya Honorable Felix Kwachio Fosu and Honorable Pius Enam Hajide ewo studio ha. Ye kwa Lisa Hotel.
No young person in this country is going to finish school at 12 years or 13 years, JHS level, either because they failed the JHS exams or their parents could not afford secondary school. Through the Monumental's free SHS, every Ghanaian child will grow into a youth guaranteed education to the secondary school level. And we all know what that means for lifting people, giving them that level of education, what that means for lifting them out of poverty. And this has been achieved by the NPP government. And going forward into the next 4 years, we would strengthen the implementation of the free SHS. We would work very hard to remove the dual system, what we call the double track. As you all know, 40% of Get Fund revenues have been collateralized to raise $1.5 billion to provide infrastructure in our existing secondary schools at a rapid pace so that we'll be able to remove double track very, very soon. Very forward-looking policy, collateralizing just 40% of Get Fund revenues to raise $1.5 billion to deliver infrastructure at the pace that it is currently going on, so we can remove double track. And this we can assure the Ghanaian youth. It's happening now. It's not just a promise. Now, housing, we all agree, is a major problem facing young people in this country. And I am sure many of you media people sitting here, who I suspect all fall into the category of young people between the ages of 21 and 40, I'm sure many of you go through this problem of finding accommodation that is affordable. We all know that the population of this country has kept way, way ahead of the provision of housing. So there's a housing shortage. Some estimate it to be about 2 million units of housing. The result has been that rent is quite high, but more crippling is the issue of rent advance. So the young person who has finished school or who's planning to get married is faced with the problem of accommodation and rent advance. You have to pay 3 years rent advance. Many young people end up taking loans from their workplaces and so on to be able to pay for rent advance. The NPP is going to relieve the young people of this burden of rent advance. What the NPP has in store is what we call the National Rental Assistance Scheme. Now, this scheme will be set up very quickly in the next 4 years of the NPP. Now, this National Rental Scheme for young people has the following features. It will provide loans to Ghanaian youth at very, very low interest so that you can pay for rental accommodation. Now, the monies will be paid. Landlords who desire to rent homes will register under the scheme. The rent, the advanced rent of 2 years or 3 years will be paid directly to the landlord. And you, the beneficiary youth, will just pay monthly payments to the scheme. So you would not have to look for all these huge amounts of 3 years rent, 4 years rent, and so on. You just have to look for the monthly rent. The scheme will take on the advance payment on your behalf. So in the next short years, 2-3 years, 1 year, 2 years, the issue of rent advance will no more be a big issue worrying young people. The government will set up a seed capital of 100 million cedis that will serve as a seed capital, and that will also be used as a leverage to attract additional investment from the private sector and so on. And young people in both formal and informal sectors will be eligible once they can show that they have a regular income, whether they are plumbers, whether they are office workers, whether they are tailors, they are mechanics. Once you can show that you have a regular income and you have your national ID card for identification purposes, you will be eligible for the scheme. And this, like I said, it will pay directly to the landlord. And so you would not have to pay 3 years rent. You would just pay a monthly rent. the very little interest. And government to implement the necessary regulatory and operational policies to anchor this policy. Indeed, as we speak, there's a new Rent Control Act that is in line with this new policy. And this new Rent Control Act has already been drafted for review by Cabinet. So this is a major step that the government of the NPP will take to solve a major problem of young people in this country, which is the issue of high rent and the issue of rent advance. In the longer term, we would be implementing a mortgage scheme so that young people would begin a process of owning their own homes. Now, in this direction, the NPP government has already established the National Housing and Mortgage Finance Scheme, which has already been piloted with 2 private banks and the Tema Development Company. And this pilot has already delivered 250 housing units at Tema Community 22 and another 200 under construction at Tema Community 22 and a further 80 flats at Tema Community 26. Now, these houses are being established under the National Housing and Mortgage Finance Scheme in partnership with private banks and the Tema Development Company. And this housing scheme will be deepened to ensure that we begin to provide the housing that will make young people aspire to owning their own houses. So the rental scheme, the mortgage, and the advance rents will be temporary, but the longer term is to have every young person own their own homes. A second issue that we all know is dear to the heart of Ghanaian youth is jobs. And we all know that in the last 30 years or so, the job situation has been critical in this country, mainly because the growth of the population, particularly of young people, has been much more than the growth in the economy. So the economy has not been able to deliver the services that are being demanded by the growing population, particularly in the numbers of young people. So jobs is a major issue that the NPP government is tackling head-on, and in the next 4 years will tackle with even greater energy. In 2016, if you remember, we promised that we'll build an economy that will create jobs for young people. If you look at the record of the NPP is the government, the only government in the Fourth Republic that introduced a deliberate, sustained policy to provide jobs for young people. The very famous National Youth Employment Program in 2006. And we all remember that in the 2-year period between 2006, 2007 up to 2008, 108,000 direct jobs was provided by the NPP government at that time for young people under the NYEP, the National Youth Employment Program. We remember also, very, very sadly, that when the NPP left office in 2009, this laudable program of the National Youth Employment Program, after the NPP left office, was turned into the very, very infamous JIDA. And we all know what became of it. The JIDA became a vehicle for barefaced corruption and stealing of taxpayers' monies under the guise of youth employment. The trust of youth employment was changed from giving young people direct jobs in the security, auxiliary nursing, auxiliary teachers, auxiliary sanitation workers, giving them direct jobs. It was changed to a policy where contracts were given to train young people. And in many of those contracts, the training was not offered. All the monies were paid, and is one of the saddest episodes of corruption in this country. That was what the NYP was turned into. But the record of the NPP still stands that we are the only government that set up a vehicle to provide jobs for young people directly. There's the NYEP. Now, after coming back into government in 2017, we have continued, restructured the so-called GIDA, and we have continued the modified version of the NYEP, and so many jobs have been provided under it. Now, since 2017 to the middle of 2020, the NPP government has created over 2 million direct and indirect jobs for the Ghanaian youth. 778,000 in the public sector, 268,000 in the formal private sector, and 1 million jobs in government job creation programs, including the famous NAPCO, which has 100,000 young people directly employed. The breakdown for the government-created programs, the 1 million jobs, include Planting for Food and Jobs, 762,000 jobs. NAPCO, which I've already mentioned, 100,000 jobs. The National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, under my good young friend, Mr. Kuma, 92,000 jobs. National Identification Authority, that exercise provided 35,000 jobs. The Outgrower Value Chain in Agriculture provided 7,000 jobs. The Ghana Commercial Agricultural Project for Young People provided 11,000. The Forest Plantation Program provided 84,000 jobs for young people. Health and medical personnel employed over the period, 65,000. Teachers and non-technical staff for Ministry of Education, 74,000. Lecturers in tertiary institutions, 6,700. And of course, the Youth Employment Program, formerly the NYEP, formerly GIDA, has provided 185,000 people jobs for young people. Indeed, the Ghana Living Standard Survey 7 indicated that youth employment in Ghana reduced from 11.9% in 2015 to 8.4% in 2018, a reduction of 3.5%. That's the latest Ghana Living Standard Survey, number 7, conducted by the Statistical Service. Now, going forward, the next NPP government will work to deepen job creation and better target job creation for young people who are willing to work. One major pursuit will be the One District, One Factory program. All of us, in the days of our primary school and secondary school, were taught that the way forward for this country is industrialization. And it is industrialization that will throw up the jobs, that will provide jobs on a sustainable basis, that will save the foreign exchange that we bleed in imports, and that really will put the economy on a sound footing. And all the countries that are rich today, that many young people like to go to, are industrial countries. And if we follow suit and manage to industrialize our country, nothing stops us from attaining the growth rates and the development rates that some of these rich countries have. The NPP is the government in the Fourth Republic that has a systematic program to deliver industrialization to this country under the famous One District, One Factory. And every young person should be excited about this program. So far, over 50 industries have been set up, providing jobs and processing foodstuffs and doing manufacturing of rare products. They're already throwing up jobs. More importantly, the processing facilities that are being set up would have a major effect on agriculture. We aim to process 50% of agricultural produce, the maize, the tomatoes, the peppers, the corn, cassava, palm nuts, palm oil, and turn them into industrial products. And that would make peasant agriculture become commercial agriculture, and make agriculture attractive to young people. Because currently, it's difficult to get into commercial agriculture because you don't have the support for the produce. With this massive IDIF program, which is throwing up many processing facilities, very soon we'll be processing 50% of our agricultural produce, and that will provide stable incomes and livelihoods in agriculture and make agriculture an attractive option for young people. It will reduce the rural-urban drift, raise the value of agriculture, raise the value of our economy, spread even development in the country, and throw up jobs, build a better country for young people. And this IDIF program, the NPP is the only government in the Fourth Republic that has a systematic program like that, driven by policy and an implementation plan, as all of us know. And young people should be particularly excited about this particular development. We will pursue IDIF vigorously in the next 4 years and throw up a lot of factories. We've said we aim to do it in every district, and that remains our aim. The third point of reference for young people as far as this government is concerned is the digitization of the Ghanaian economy and the Ghanaian society. Digitization is building the future now for the young people. We all know that digitization is inevitable in all aspects of life: knowledge, skills training, education. All have to go through digitalization one way or the other. The youth are the future of this country. So building a digital economy and infrastructure in this country is therefore building the future for the youth. The NPP is the digital party. The NPP government is the digital government. Now, the NPP, having delivered to this country the monumental National Health Insurance Scheme in 2003-2004, having delivered to this country the Great Free SHS in 2017, is now poised to deliver the future through digitization. We are the pioneering party. We are the pioneering government in delivering digitization. This sustained national effort is led by no less a person than our Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has been aptly named by some of you in the media as Mr. Digitization. So the digitization effort has been placed at the high level of the Vice Presidency. Now, I invite the youth of this country to check out the progress that the NPP is making in delivering digitization in the last 3.5 years. One that will come into your mind is the Ghana Post GPS, or the National Digital Address System. I'm sure many of you in your press houses and in your personal spaces, you all have the digital address. Now, this GPS address system will increasingly become the backbone of Ghana's e-commerce market. It's been delivered by the NPP. You would also remember the mobile money payments interoperability, which makes available easy and cheap money transfers using our mobile phones across networks, makes possible the transfer of funds from mobile money accounts to our bank accounts, and from mobile money account and bank accounts to biometric payment card accounts. This fluid interoperability across mobile wallets and bank accounts is indeed the most advanced in sub-Saharan Africa. And it's been pioneered in this country by the NPP. It is instructive for the Ghanaian youth to remember that the NDC, our friends, in 2015-2016, had planned to roll out interoperability. The cost was $1.2 billion. The NPP has delivered interoperability at less than $5 million. So it shows you the space that is left for NPP to do more. It would have cost the country 1.2 billion. The NPP did it at 4.5 million, actually. You would also remember the Ghana Government Digital Payments Platform, which is a one-stop shop to enable citizens, particularly the youth, to access government services and make payments for public services. Everyday government services are being digitized at a very fast rate. You can now acquire your driver's license in digital format. You can now register your vehicle in digital format. Your license plates will be digital license plates that can be read by digital gadgets by police and so on. You can apply online for your passports. You can digitally renew your national health insurance membership. The birth and death registry processes are being digitized to remove the human element and some of the guru things that go on. It's about 80% complete. The permit processes for construction are also being digitized. There's a pilot program in Accra and Tema, and already this digitization of the permit processes application has reduced the turnaround time from 30 days to about 9 days. The processes for applying and obtaining building operating permits and licensing are also being digitized. It's been piloted in 29 MMDAs. The courts are being digitized at a fast pace. Public sector procurement has been digitized. Vehicle insurance database has been digitized, and that has eliminated false insurance certificates and enabled police and commuters to check insurance status. So you want to check an insurance status of a vehicle, you send the number to a code, and the answer will come back if that vehicle is properly insured through digitization. Electricity purchasing is digitized. You can purchase electricity now from your phone. It's available to 2.8 million customers of electricity. We aim that by the end of this year, it will be 100% coverage across the country. You can file your taxes online and so on. So all of these are government services that have been very laborious, and all of them being brought to the reach of young people sitting in the comfort of their homes and the comfort of their offices. We're building the future for the young people in this country. You will remember the provision of biometric national ID cards, which gives every Ghanaian, particularly the youth, a unique special biometric identification. This Ghana card will become the central nervous system of our digital assets, and it will quicken the building of a digital economy for the youth of this country. You remember that in the 8 years of the NDC, our friend, from 2009 to 2016, even though they had the National Identification Authority sitting in place and paying all the people working there in 8 years, they were never able to produce one national ID card. In the last 3.5 years, the NPP government has produced 14 million cards for Ghanaians, for Ghanaian young people. In 8 years, the NDC could not produce one. That shows you the clear difference between the two governments, the two parties, and what they mean for the future of this country. You would also remember the universal QR code payment system, which is being rolled out as we speak. Now that takes us to the last mile of the payment system for everyday economic and commercial transactions. These universal QR code payments. Many of you have access to the QR code in your newspapers and so on. And the payment system, which has been implemented, is really going to revolutionize payments for goods and services. You will not need the traditional POS. You have to key in so many numbers. And indeed, Ghana is the first country in Africa with a universal PR code payment system. And this has been delivered to this country, been delivered to the youth of this country by the NPP government. And in the next 4 years, you will see a vigorous rollout. And this country will look completely different at the end of the next 4 years for the youth of this country. Digitization is now and is also the future. Any country that does not pursue digitization will be left out, and its youth will be stranded for the future. The determined effort to digitize Ghana is a major deliverable to the youth of this country by the NPP government. And the NPP is clearly the government that is taking the youth of this country into the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, this presentation is just a presentation on the basic good news that the NPP has for the Ghanaian youth going forward. And I'm charging the Ghanaian youth to rise up and carry President Akufo-Addo and the NPP on their shoulders to victory in December 7, 2020, so that together we will form a partnership that will build a solid country and a solid future for the youth that will be the envy of their peers in Africa. I thank you very much for your attention. Come on. Serve appointed. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Interestingly, we've heard what the NPP is doing and continue to do. Without a doubt, this election is going to be a win for the NPP. The youth of this country, we have seen, observed the consistency and the manner in which good governance is being delivered, just as is well explained by our former Director of Communication, Nana Akumia. We thank you for coming. Thank you so much. And inshallah, we will be here again next week. But then, I'm told there's not going to be translation of same. The Twi version.
We can try something.
Okay, that's fine. Then director says he's going to take the Twi version, maybe summarize it a bit for us, and then afterwards, if you have questions, you proceed with your questions. Okay, then the suggestion is that we take the questions first, then after the questions, then the Twi version would be given. Will that be all right? Okay, so please, let's have your questions. Maybe we'll take some few questions. He would answer same. Having done with the answers of your questions, then we'll proceed with the Twi translation. Thank you so much. So, yes, the gentleman there.
First question. My name is Frederick.
Frederick? Okay. All right.
My name is Frederick Lance Williams from TV3. My first question based on the rental policy. The 4 years policy of MPP is saying that they are going to pay an advance payment for a youth that has secured a job at a particular institution. That advance payment will be based on 2 years or 3 years. But looking at the law made it clear that the advance payment is supposed to be 6 months. Is that not going to defeat the purpose of that law?
Thank you so much. Frederick, from where?
TV3.
TV3, thank you. I think it's well noted. A question again, if you... Yes? Do we have another one? Yes, my brother. Please, let him have the mic. Your name and the media house you're from, please.
Well, my name is Joseph Nonea Okobna. I report for the LifeAfricanNews.com. I just want to find out from Honorable Nana Akumia, the 100 million seed capital. Can we know the source of funding, where you're going to pick it from?
Thank you. The ladies, any question from the ladies as well? Yes? Okay, so we're done. I think Nana Kumia is going to give us the answers to your questions. We have the first one from Frederick and the second one from my brother from
on Asempa FM.
Thank you. Thank you. My brother Frederick wanted to say that the law says advance should be 6 months. And so, well, I didn't say the payments, the rent advance that will be eligible will be 2 years or 3 years. If you have a rent advance of 6 months, you can apply. If you have a rent advance of 1 year, you can apply. The law, as we all know, has been. What's the problem? There's an echo? So how do we deal with it? So we can just put this off. Or? Yes, the law has been observed in the breach. And you know, even though the law says 6 months, the woman or the man, landlord will tell you 2 years. What do you do? Are you going to take them to court? But like I said, we are going to do something about the law. If you remember, I had said that the government would implement, I think it's on paragraph 6. Is it there? Mr. Elliott, if we went to page 4, are we there with the PowerPoint? If we went to page 4, it said paragraph said government to implement the necessary regulatory and operational policies to anchor the policy. And indeed, as we speak, a new Rent Control Act has been drafted and is being reviewed for cabinet to make sure that the laws are aligned to this policy. My other brother said that what will be the source of funding for the 100 million? Was that a question? For the 100 million? Oh, I don't think there will be new taxes. And you look at him, he's afraid of new taxes. No, I don't think we'll raise new taxes. We'll be able to source that money through regular government revenue and put it aside because it's so important. It's this rent advance thing for many people, young people who are renting. This advance thing is killing them. I mean, in my company, hardly does 1 month go by without an application for loan to pay rent. We don't want to put young people through that. So landlords with properties will register with the scheme. If you're a young person, Ghanaian, you have your national ID card for identification purposes and you have a regular income, preferably. You register in the scheme, you are approved, you pay 1 month. As the month ends, you pay your rent. Government will settle the landlord for you. And then you just pay your 1 month. And I'm sure if you speak to many young people who have finished school and working, one of the big problems they will tell you is the issue of rent advance. Okay, so I would, our 3 brothers and sisters, are they here? So the English people, they can go? Oh? Okay. Yo, minuanum, and then shame share yasem no tia. NPP are buying NPP party. Yade ba beto Ghana imebun omenim Juma aban no ama imebun enyankoso. Any Juma aban no ebeye mfie nan ya aka Yankopon adom ni mo adom ɛda President Akufo-Addo anim mfie 9 Juma ebe na yenya yenim free SHS ya aban de abay free SHS no ene Ghana mofra bofra bia ni Ghana obeja school we di 12 years we di 13 years ewo JHS etwem na niema mienu ni aye free SHS nipa bia wantimi anto aso ewo JSS ebiana wa fail exams no anase na wofo eni sika de bema na to aso free SHS policy na twa sa de no basic school no ya twemu de secondary school nti failing wo JSS na eni hobiem and secondary school no so ya no free ma yenya yenim mfasoa ewo san hihye yi so NPP aban in the first 4 years mfie na edikan ya de aba ama Ghana mofra ne Ghana mabum na ye koye nimiade ba kon ha Ghana mabum pa eye wokohan dan yesi betwe advance ebia afi mienu se afi ba kon rent 1,000 cedis bosome the betwe 2 years advance 1 year advance eyade a edi mabum nyapa wa wie suku wadi be 23 na waso anware wadi be 26 so nya baby papatena oni ukun na no yere na rent advance dey abo trim fina kwa hwe besia Ekosiisen on Asempa FM ye ko ye nim fie na ye MPP aban e ba betwem hihya de ba no ne se ye frɛ bibia ye hihya de ba ye frɛ no rent assistance scheme hihya na ne se aban diskabi ba beto ho na o ye landlord and landlady na wodan ya pesa wo de hire wo be register with san hihya na obi ba na obe oni na wie oni landlord ya la oni na wie hihya no rent na advance na wo hwe no aban ne obetena se na aban atwia se sika no se 1 year no se 6 months so aban betwia se sika na ma wo landlord no na mebu no no ba be han wo dan no obetwia bosome ama aban nti sa rent advance no ye ba betwem se a free next year 2021 echo na bind this for 100 million cedis to ho e was ahihye o ye mabunku na o ye adwuma se wa won sa no adwuma na o ye adwuma wo office na o je akifia
Asempa FM
aban so on sa was nhihye mu e betwa rent advance mu ye koye nimi nso no ye pese wa utimi enya odan nti ye the mortgage nhihye bi a esonko e mo dimpa eba na we adwuma be 10 years bia niska kakra to ho wa betimi atọ dan na nhihye kra no ya sese ya start ye friend no National Housing and Mortgage Finance Scheme ye ne TDC I started here ye ho adwuma na ye ka say ukọ tema community 22 almost 250 adan flats and 200 so ye guso ayesi ukọ a community 26 so almost 80 flats awenum nya no will be for a beton mebum beton on betimi ato under mortgage bind deba no be sronko a chain na banks no CC a nsi hu no hye fe no dollar denominated a dollar no dwane no so dwane tie no so ye hye bind deba so na be ya ontena obi dan enkosi afebol o tembu kakra na no so no ye den hye ba wa betimi ato dan for Ghana mebum ade ba kun so ayi nim se ha Ghana mebum pa na adwuma jumasem na NPP aban ni aban a ye den hye gyina hɔ ɛbaa yɛ sɛ ɛbɛma mmabun adwuma 2006 sɛ mobɛkae a ɛne ne yɛfrɛ no National Youth Employment Program. Mfie mmienu no saa nhyehyɛ National Youth Employment Program no de adwuma 108,000 ɛna ɛbrɛ Ghana mmabun. Yɛfiri aban mu 2009 yɛnyia nimesiɛ. Yɛnyia no NDC baa no mo dane National Youth Employment Program mo dane no GIDA. Sɛ mo kae saa no ɛfa kɔfa saa GIDA mu wia Ghana fo sika bii kɛkɛ. Sɛ mo bɛkae. MPP breso no na yɛ fa mmabun no direct yɛ from auxiliary nursing fa ne from Akufo nurses. Sɛ mo bɛkae. Akufo teachers, Akufo police, sanitation. Mmabun kwa 108,000 ye be free.
Ekosiisen on
na waba
Asempa
sɛ
FM.
wotwa so ba na wɔbɛsesa no yɛ de GIDA na sɛ mo amunim GIDA mu na confirm free buy abɛtɔ na yɛn hu a confirm yi enti ɛba no suahu a MPP aban ne aban a Fourth Republic yi yɛde nhyehyɛe a aba sɛ bɛma mmabun anya adwuma directly enti Osha se yɛka sɛ yɛbɛhyɛ adwuma mu kena ma Ghana mmabun a na sɛ yɛka no kwa mfie mmiɛnsa ne fa itwa mi adwuma aban de aba hyehyɛ a MPP aban ayɛ ma adwuma ba for mmabun about 2 million. Public sector nkwa adwuma de ba nkwa 778,000. Former private sector, Shisha Abandia by the Juma Bankwa, Jumankwa 268,000. Abayan Kasa public creation government creation jobs. Shisha Abandia ba, and Unkwa be 1 million. A bini NAPCO Nkwa be 100,000. Planting for food and jobs 762.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
And what they are yes up. The last be a share. Yenyu apenyi bi o no ye former NDC MP ono kra minim se mo hu video na e wa edwira ho ba bi no kamfo hyehyɛ moa onu nya ya botimi bie adwuma na o ye no so afani papi na mo na ye adwuma and former NDC MP for sa area this are planting for food jobs 762,000 NAPCO the 100,000 adwuma Yekasa say National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. And unkwan saw mebu 92,000 omu yejuma the day. National Identification Authority unkwan de juma 35,000 buy. Commercial agricultural project, forest plantation, and I knew penny when you baby because I joined Hesui, and also 84,000 ejuma nom de buy. We teachers are yafa. Any teacher, any pay, Wejuma Ghanaian Education Service in 74,000. Nurses, hospital, doctors are yafa or health in a sector, 65,000. Lecturers were university, 6,700. And a youth employment agency, the famous NYP, the famous GIDA. I'm also, if you may sanify trade, Mioma Fenipa, 185,000. Now share a Susua Ghana Living Standard Survey. Yeah. HSM. Youth unemployment. A Swati from 11.9%, 2015, and 2018, Tibayama by 8.4. Omunyo mu next survey, but omunyo mu next survey be who figures no. Na when you share a dear ba a boa mebu. Ye koye nimi. Ye be miem IDIFIFN 1 district 1 factory. E de juma piye beba. E ben so be peja kwe juma ma mebun etimi aye juma mebun eni beje ho. Omakwa koye bi. E na ohwe kasa di ropa. Ohwe kumfi juice. Nipa ya form wo ho. Sika de be import. Fruit juice na kenkan we so tip. Na industries no P ewo 1 to 1 factory MPP yet is a Casa de Europa ni Ekofiji say eba. Ya ye be say 59. In the next 4 years he be san twaso. Industry bia de adwuma be ba direct ama mabum. Na fe no broni frɛ no effect on agriculture, effect on the foreign exchange. Ayasem ketwa. Na a free Kwame Nkrumah breast so ye nya agye atum say industry and etimi pija o man ko nedim. Aban bia amba Fourth Republic ya e de ahode a share industry mu te san NPP aban e de a share me. A free 1993. Na ne tosu bi ma say mabun e de o madwin ba so ne digitization. And therefore nneema ya abai I ne social media anya ne chefen sa digitization aban no de ahoden sonko ahyem nipa odimo kotene a hye na se eye vice president Baumia nti utimi hu sana ade no da NPP aban akoma so na uhwe hyehyeye ene nneema ya ye bosa digital economy ya Obekai Ghana Post GPS. And then yenya obia wa GPS address.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Office bia will be or dan bia will be to bia one address say. I would to me the address no at the year documents. At the call Pebisi and other copy bia ope.
Asempa FM.
Obekai mobile money or interoperability. I know with me MTN, with me I send this car called Vodafone, with me I send this car called Tigo, interoperability. Na ya sam shemukina ama ubet me there sika bet me use free bank account. E dey about phone so bet me transfer sika free phone so I call bank account. Afe mo amkuta biometric card ninya bet me transfer sika ATM card through interoperability ya dey abey na sa hihye Africa ha Ghana demusronko emobeka ya yenwan NDC 2015 2016 na msinso mo yen hihye for interoperability bi sika na nka mba be say 1.2 billion yeba ye no ya yes interoperability de Ghana phone ya particular Ghana member ne born here 4.5 million to which susun ya eda aban mi enu intem ba konso ayaye Ghana government digital payment platform opese wo ye bibi tua passport application betimi atwa on that platform yes afi na uko bank akuyiska 2 coin de akotwa cedi yenya na efe no cashless payment systems ukwa bruchira omudimu akotene yede bagana government services open driver's license digital open so register a car digital we apply for passport digital when NHIS card open so sisan first no be call be hwe be bia ye registration be call na ho nya ye ma lole kwan so nya ye ma enipa ebe renew mo NHIS and out to them here ya obetimi aye wo NHIS renewal I dey aba birth and death registry digital open permit the construction kakra ninya digital court law court see ninya ye no digital ikusu the public sector procurement and license plates be digital nti police ni kuta ne digital equipment no the traffic photo na e be kire no nipa car ne ne dia afia ye register ye car no insurance car no roadworthy ninya because number plates no digital ye dey ba I kosu say no person to electricity who here so be to kwa vendor we kuna vendor no kra ne de na sa na be kokra wa pon say bia to yenya ada say neno hyehyɛ de ba no betumi ato electricity on your phone. It says available to NIPA 2.8 electricity customers. By the end of December, you're rolling out across the country. The TOS be biometric national ID card. GD said NIPA yenya TNP no yenya national ID card. And no na babe identification sonko. Na hu hia safe na okuta way, okuta snit, okuta way. O national ID card will be bia FM. O passport number beba, o snit number beba, o taxpayers identification beba, o drivers be bia beba. National ID card. Obeka yenyu mendi sitina so mfi hotwe 2009 to 2016. Na identification authority na wo ho on the director general was Juma. Mfi hotwe 8 years o man produce card back. If you me sani fan MPP san buy ya produce 14 million cards. I'm a Ghana for. The friend of universal QR code. I no ye deba. Ye raba me abdimo akotini. I no payment systems are very easy. Kotadia was store or supermarket. Na hu hia se fine the POS no tap nema. QR code no be mo atwa sika no easy. Ye deba. Na sa QR code yani dimu akotini pa wa Africa. Na digitization enone dachi. Na banya dimu akotini ne disa dachi no bra Ghana for ni for mebum NPP aban. Aban bi antimi yan. Record no ho. Nti mebum no munya gidie wa NPP aban, munya gidie wa President Akufo-Addo. Amonta yechi amonfa abanu si o mabeti amonfa yen intra December 7 na nhihye nya ye way free SHS digitization rent advance ayeba betwem ejuma ede ba nhihye ede ba nyama nya ebebra Ghana mebum to mu so ye mu den I'm going to December 7. In the night, I made the buy no, but it's tougher. The tree name Mumpi, some fancy. She for some more BB Bisa and I don't have him. Omoha.
Asempa FM.
Aye. I don't know what saying Bisa na commentary.
Asempa FM.
Na Peace FM wa hifa.
Asempa FM.
Peace one bisa bibia.
Asempa FM.
Eye mamo. Okay. All right. Adam.
Now, my name is Charles Mesa from Otek FM.
The Otek?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, rent allowance, and I rent, private workers who come.
Yo, your family knew me in Zambia. Your family knew me in Zambia.
Okay, Mr. Friend Kojoba for Angel FM and Angel TV. Nana, my son Bisani say a far affordable housing for scheme neighbor. And they affordable housing that is see. And so say be any dentemuna and also now you see that no. Yeah, the back scheme na eba for 2021 nana.
Never back to income. Yeah. Yo, me ya me da se. Me nua say mabum ben na omo betimi na omo nsaka sa rent advance. Enye allowance. Enye rent allowance. Eya wo rent a okotwia. Na advance say 6 months or 1 year or 2 years na betwia no. Eno na sa hihyeyi ebetwia sikana ma landlord no and a landlady no 2 years 3 years advance. So now no obetwia no bosom. Na mabumbia uwo ejuma oje bosomi aketria. Na wo ID card. Oh yeah, eligible. Say onso sabeka san hwehwe. Emfa ho say unya ban juma na unya office juma. Obetimi a plumber. Obetimi a mechanic wa ye with juma say records no share say any regular income. You are eligible. Nti aban betwe advance na ma. Na we twa no bosomi ama ban. Me yan ba kon kan say housing no. Yeah, nema mienu na ewo housing. Say yempese amabun ube ha obi dan for 10, 15, 20 years. Say also when this wade ehun say wan so benya wo dan. Teno na ban no for the long term na ban be ehun hwehwe. Ekosiisen be see adan no more. Number 2. I see a boa na we amabun wetimi ato dan ni bi. So we see adan na sa dan no nipa ntimi nto a. Say na nipa na nya ho mfaso. Enu ntino yes, and the mortgage scheme sronko eba. I don't know, be affordable ama mebon. Ya sha se kra, ye ni TDC, any bank me no be a start ye pilot. Ye ka se omo ye a dime flats 500. Ewo community tema community 22. So 500 omo wi mu 250. 250 no mo go so see. Any community 26 in so we see 80 flats. Now in the next 4 years, we will release our dance here.
Asempa FM. Asempa FM.
Papa driver, man in the hair, me pesemiti Asempa FM. Taxi driver, man in the hair, me pesemiti Asempa FM. Filling station, man in the hair, me pesemiti Asempa FM. Pop spot, man in the